Good job. I enjoyed that.
It jumped out at me last night.
It's a good song.
How's everyone doing this morning? I got a question here. Wait, let me get to where I'm supposed to be, because I believe I've already lost my notes. And I do believe I put them somewhere. I can't find them, and I hate when that happens. And when that happens, what does that make me think? Makes me think I can't do it, right? I'm gonna start with this. We walk by faith. What does that mean? And not by sight. What does that mean? We walk by faith and not by sight.
And we don't have to see God to know that He's there.
Now I'm gonna hit on some folks. And I want you to understand where I'm going. Oftentimes, we're not going to understand. In class, as we sat back there, some folks raised some interesting question. I heard some folks say, I was wanting this, I prayed for this, I didn't get that. He understands the things that we need, he understands the things that we don't need. But here's what we cannot let happen. Because we have prayed for some things and we didn't receive those things, you can't get bogged down in a hurry. But you have to understand there are some things that just aren't meant for you. But here's where I'm going. We are to walk by faith and not by sight. I'm going to say something, hear this. We all know what we need to do. We know when we need to. And I'm going to go there. We have sometimes grab ourselves by our belt and we have to pull up our pants and say some things have happened. But I got to move forward. I got to get to it. I know the Lord has this for me. But here's where I'm going next. Everything we read back there, and hear me what I'm fixing to say. Because here's what's happened to me. He's done everything you need to get to where you need to be. But a lot of this rests upon us. As I sit back there every Sunday morning, and here's why I stress my journey over and over. Every Sunday morning as I sat back there within, I have this internal fight going on within me. Something tells me, and I know it is self-doubt, that you can't do it. There are people in here, and there are folks out there who don't get to where they're going because they allow fear and doubt to overcome them. We walk by faith and not by sight. You're never going to understand it. Why is it so I can get up back there and I can come up here and preach? I don't know. He hasn't explained that to me. He doesn't need to. But here's what he has explained to me. Just get up and go do it. There are some of us, we need to do just that. We need to leave how it happens in his hand. But here's what we have to do. You have to get up and do all that it is you can do. And after you have done all that you can do, he'll complete it. I'm going to read this verse, Matthew 21 and 22, as we sit back there. These verses was hitting. Here's how it reads. Whatever things you ask in prayer and you believe, you will receive. I'm going to back up for just a second. It says, assuredly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what was done to the fig, but also if you say to the mountains, be removed and be cast in the sea, it will be done. There are mountains in all of our lives. There's things that have happened. There's storms. There's things out there. But here's what the Lord is saying. I know what it is that you need. If you believe and if you trust in me, and if you're led by me, and here's what believe means. If I believe it, I'm going to what? I'm going to get up and I'm going to prepare for it. Here's about to happen. Here's what I need. And here's what I should be doing once this happens. I know it's going to happen. I have to do all the things that it is expected of me. Right? If I don't, if I just sit where I am, do I believe it's happening? No. I'm going to say this, and I'm heading back to it. If I said, hey, back there, so Lord, I need to preach, but I'm going to sit, I'm going to stay in the seat. No, I had to what? I had to hop up and head up here. Here's why I'm using this example. The things in our lives that we know we need to do, let's get to it. Let's get to it. I have to do it every Sunday, as I said here back there. Is there anybody else who has a song? No, Daryl, it's my turn. That is my cue. Here I go. Lord, it's on you. Here I go. Here's what's happened to a whole lot of folks because we don't know how it ends or how it may look. And I'm going to say it. But tell somebody, I don't care. We're concerned that we might fail. If you are concerned that you're not going to get there or you'll fail, do you believe? Do you believe? How much do you seriously believe? If you sat back there, or not just there, if you sat where you are in your life and say, I won't do it this Sunday, or I won't do it today, or I won't start Monday, I won't start Tuesday, I'll start next time because I'm in fear that I'll fail. Time passes fast. I'm an old man already. Time has flown by. But here's what I'm happy. Now I finally understand. If we believe it, if we begin it, and I'm going to tell you, he's not going to give you everything that you ask for. Because a lot of things you ask for, amen, you don't need. Amen. So those things, you ain't going to get. No, the answer is no. Why? Because he loves you. As a child, my grandmother could cook. And there were certain things she could cook. She cooked all things well, but there were certain things I wanted day in and day. I'll fix that some days, but I won't fix that every day. See, he loves us. He will not give us some things that we don't need. But, and I wish if we find my other verse because I lost my notes. But here's where I'm going. Often we do not get to where it is we're going, not because of what he didn't do. It's because of what? Our own unbelief. I'm going to say that again. Our own unbelief has stopped so many people from getting to where they were going and what the Lord had for them because they didn't have the faith in him and they didn't have the belief in him. And here's what I'm tired of hearing. I hear so many people say this, I prayed for this and that, and he didn't give it to me. But what did you do? What did you do? See, this is a two-part thing. He has a part, and guess what? He makes it so we get to play in this too. But here's how this works. If we don't do our part, then guess what's going to happen? Nothing. If I sit back there and said, I'm going to leave it to the pastor, I'm going to let somebody else speak. Because you know what? I don't feel like speaking this week. Or I don't feel fluent. I feel like the words might hang, so I'm going to let somebody else do it. I've let him down. And I've not only let him down, I've let myself down, but as well, I have let everyone here down. Because I got news for you. You have to do it on days you feel good. You have to do it on days you feel bad. You have to do it when you don't feel like doing it. You have to go do it. Because that's what belief looks like. That's what faith looks like. Lord, I'm preparing. I know this is going to happen. It's in your will. It is for your purpose. I'm going to get up and go do what you ask of me, what you showed me to do. And if it don't work the first time, if you've showed me, I'm going to get up and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to do it the second time. Here's my point. Those mountains, those storms, we can get through them if we're led by him. But let me say this, we cannot be paralyzed in our own fear and self-doubt. I'm going to say it again. We cannot allow our fear and our self-doubt to stop us. Because I see so many people, I'm going to wait till next week. I'm going to wait till next month. It's raining, it's storming. I don't feel like it. My back's hurting, my knees hurting. I got a lot of excuses myself. And this morning, after some things happened, I was tired and I wanted to just stay in the bed.
Amen.
But I said, nope. I said, you know what? I don't feel this fluent. There's some things happening with me. I'm tired. I'm worn down. I'm not going. I said, nope. That's how it starts. That's how he starts it.
That's right.
You know what, Dale? Why don't you just stay here today, Bubba? Hey, they got it. But I get to be a part of this. And I like the part he's allowed me to play. So I'm going to show up. I'm going to do what it is I'm supposed to do. So when he calls me home and once I stand before him, I can say, Lord, I couldn't do much, but I did all I could do. Because here's what I'm going to do all I can do because I know he's going to complete. See, I don't have to do a lot. It feels like Hey, to me, I have. It feels like to me, I've done. But no, he's going to complete it. But here's what he wants. He wants you to begin it. He wants you to start it. Why? Because the world sees you. The world understands that you can't complete it. I still hear this. They say you up there preaching. You can't preach. Come hear me. They're right. I can't. But who can? Boom. That's who they're supposed to see. And here's why I use that example. Your life is the same way. People know what you can't do, and they're standing and watching. I'm a watcher. I'm a watcher. I'm going to see what happens. And after a while, once you have begun it and started, boom, the Lord steps in, it takes off, and it happens. And they say, oh, I need that because I know him. I know Daryl. I see him every day. You know, I see him 6 days a week, and the only day I don't see him is on Sunday. So I guess I'm going to drag up there and see what's happening with him on Sunday. That's what we want to happen, right? But every one of your life is the same. They want to see where you fail. But he said, what? Where you are weak, he's what? Uh-oh. That's where they're going to see him. But what does that require of you? Stepping out on your faith when you don't feel like you can do it at your weakest. When it seems like the sun will not break through those clouds. When it's darkest, when it feels as if there's no way it can happen, just get up and go. Get up and go. And why do I tell you this? Why do I tell you this? I wouldn't tell you anything that I've not done myself. I wouldn't tell you anything that I don't have to do over and over every Sunday morning. Just get up and go do it, and I can promise you this, the outcome is the same. He's got you. He said, what? I'll never what? Never leave you. Never leave you. Even when you are afraid, even when it's darkest, even when it's hard, even when you know that you can't do it, I got you. I'll never leave you. That's enough. If he has us, what? What does it also say? If he's for us, it does not matter who's what? Against us. And he also says, no weapon formed against you will what? See? So what is there to be afraid of? And I said, fear itself, right? Scary thing. Y'all, I don't even worry about it no more. I've been doing it now for so long. He showed me so many times. If I hang on a word, 2 or 3, I don't care. He's got me. And here's what else I found out. The world don't care. They're not looking at me, no way. They're looking at him. They're hearing him. They're not seeing me. They're hearing him. If they hear him and see him, then what's happened? We have done what he's asked us to do, to allow people to see him through us. If that happens, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Lives will be impacted and changed because when people start hearing from him, what's going to happen? That's why I'm going to be preaching. Lives will change. Every Sunday that I'm not sick, every Sunday I can make it, I'm right up here. Why? Because he's shown me. He's got us. But I'm going to close with this. Do not let fear, do not let doubt overtake you. Do not believe he's going to let me get halfway. Hey, there's somebody I got to argue with. It's something that's been on my heart. I'm going to say this. I got to say this. I got to say this. I got to say this. He ain't going to hang you out. Why do I know he ain't going to hang you out? Nobody in there has the problem I have. Nobody in there has a problem that they struggle with every single. Who in here has a problem they struggle with every single day? Who in here has a problem every time you start to talk? Hey, that thought's there. Nobody, no hands are up, right? No hands. Do I care anymore? No. Here's my point. Is this. I say that to say this. He ain't going to hang you out. How do I know he's not going to hang you out? I'm up here. I'm up here. And I hear folks say, well, you're just up speaking. One time in my life, this was the scariest place in the world. There was a boogeyman up here that was waiting for me, and he's going to get me. But I also found up here, there's a Savior who's got me, who can overcome the boogeyman. Now I'm not worried about the boogeyman because I know Superman now. If we'll just put it in his hands, He's got us. And let me sit down and shut up because I wasn't here. Some folks said I need to shut up last week. So I'm going to shut up this week. But I'm going to say this before I sit down. Know that he's never going to hang you out. Know that he's not going to leave you. But I want to leave you with this. I'm going to leave you with this. Whatever he's placed in your heart, whatever you know is there, act upon it. And don't worry because it may get dark and it may get hard. Sometimes you need that time to grow. Sometimes you need that to get you to where he wants to take you. Because once you come out the other side, when you spend those hours, once you spend that time, once you struggle that storm, when you come out the other side, you will find that you've grown. You've grown. You're not the same person you was. Why? Because you've learned. Let me sit down and shut up. But here's what you've learned. You've learned to just put it in his hands and leave it. And here's what else has happened. You got that much more faith and confidence in him. He will never hang you out. Thank you.
I don't fall in a trap, I walk over here.
No, you won't.
You just follow with it.
Fall over here if you.
Well, I might do that. This morning, I think I have determined to discuss the book of Ruth. I don't mean I'm gonna read the whole thing. We'll probably talk about nearly all of it. It happened many years ago. There was a couple named Elimelech and Naomi. They had two sons, Chilon and Mahlon. They lived in a town called Bethlehem. In the town of Bethlehem, a famine occurred. They didn't depend on God to take them through that famine. They decided they needed to do. They needed to help God. Have you ever decided you need to help God? Well, do what he asks you to do, but when he asks you to stay still, I mean, it goes back all the way through the biblical history. God makes a promise, and the people decide they've got to help God keep that promise. God's able to keep the promises on him. But they decided that since there was a famine in the land of Bethlehem where they lived, they would up and go to Moab. Moab wouldn't even have been there if the people had done what God told them to do, because they were supposed to have destroyed the Moabite people. But no, they didn't do what God told them, and Moab was there. So they go to Moab, and the Bible and the book of Ruth indicates they lived there about 10 years. First, Naomi's husband died. Then her two sons died. But before her sons died, they had married women from the land of Moab. Another thing that God told them not to do. Well, apparently they had no children, because there's no record that they had any children. They died without any children. And Naomi after this 10 years of heartache and grief, decides it's time to go back to Bethlehem, back to Jerusalem. She starts, and both of her daughter-in-laws, Ophrah and Ruth, start out with her. She tells both of them that they should stay in their land of their fathers. They should go back to their father's house. And they should seek to marry again. Because she said, if I had a husband, and if I was still able to have sons, you wouldn't want to wait for them to grow up to be your husband. But you need to take care of your own life. Both the daughters-in-law started out with Naomi. But after Naomi encouraged them to stay in the land of Moab, Ophrah decided to turn back. And you know, the Bible doesn't record anything else about Ophrah. We know nothing. But Ruth said, where you go, I will go. Your God will be my God, and where you're buried, I will be buried. We know quite a bit about Ruth. Not, I guess, an awful lot, but the story doesn't end on that road from Moab back to Bethlehem. Ruth and Naomi arrived back in Bethlehem near the harvest season, apparently. And in that day and time, people who did not have a crop of their own could go out, and the corners of the fields where grain was left by accident or on purpose, they could gather that grain up and have something to live on. So Ruth, apparently Naomi is pretty well stricken in years and maybe not able to go out and glean in the fields, but Ruth does go. Ruth goes and winds up in the field of a man named Boaz. It just so happens Boaz is a kinsman. So she is allowed to glean or gather grain and takes it home. And Ruth asked her Naomi asked Ruth where she had worked that day, and she said it was in the field of a man named Boaz. She tells Ruth that is a near kinsman. Well, the land that Ruth owned would have passed to her sons, but her sons are dead. So to make the story not exceedingly long, we have the law of the Jewish people, a kinsman redeemer. And Boaz was a fairly close kinsman. So Ruth, following Naomi's instructions, went to Boaz and he said that he was willing to redeem the land. But there was someone closer, kinfolks, that had first rights. He said, I'll have to visit with this person. They meet at the gates of the city where most all business was transacted in those days. And Boaz told the gentleman that the land was there to be redeemed. Said, if you want it, it's your first choice. Yeah, I want it. Boaz said, well, there's just one more thing you got to consider. You need to take Ruth as your wife and raise children to Naomi's dead sons. No, I can't go there.
Never mind.
Never mind, I'll pass the rights on to you. To shorten the story, Ruth winds up married to Boaz. Because of this law of kinsman redeemer. And you know what else? Ruth is in the lineage of King David. She's in the lineage of Jesus Christ. And who was our greatest redeemer? Yeah, they had the law of kinsman redeemer, but Jesus came not to just redeem kinfolks. He came to redeem all of us. There's more to the story of Ruth than I'm going to get into this morning, and I see Leslie's already studied it. It won't take you but an hour at the most to read the book of Ruth, and you can gain more from it than what I'm going to put in to this one short message. But Ruth, except for the fact that she married into Naomi's family, and except for the fact that she recognized that there was a real God, and that she wanted that God. Ruth wouldn't even been mentioned in the Bible. So few women are actually mentioned in the Bible. But Ruth stands out as one. As I said, let's see. She bore Obed, and Obed was David's father. So she was a grandmother to David, King David. And of course, everybody knows that Jesus was of the line of King David. This woman, because of her faith, and the word faith is not used there, I don't guess, but because of her faith, she said, your God will be my God. Because she had recognized there was a real God. Not these many gods that so many nationalities, so many countries worship today. Polytheism. Long word just means there's a lot of gods. They're all spelled with a little g. There's just one real God. Because Ruth's faithfulness to her family, because of her faithfulness in worshiping the one true God, she got her name mentioned in the Bible. And not many women were. She was a grandparent on the human side of Jesus Christ. She, simply because she was faithful in a little bit, was rewarded in a big way. But if we're not faithful in the little bit that God gives us, He won't give us any more. I'm confident of that. Be faithful, be true to the one true God. Will He give you everything your heart desires? Probably not. I was reading in Psalms this morning about someone who's had no problems in life, while someone else had seemingly nothing but problems. I've stated before, and I believe that psalm that I was reading bore it out. If you don't have any problems in this life, you need to get your life right with Christ, because I'm convinced that those people who have no problems are on the road to hell. None of us want these problems, but God will help you through any problem that does come your way. Why do Christian people have problems? Because Satan's trying to sidetrack them.